Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. And if you've been with me since January of 2023, you will know that Embracing the Fight is about normalizing the conversations surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. Now, why is that important? Think about it. Who goes around telling you what's wrong with them? People just kind of suffer in silence. And then you start seeing more suicides. You start seeing more people walking into grocery stores, shooting unarmed people for no reason at all, because maybe they're having a mental health episode or issue, but it went undiagnosed. So it's important that we start talking about those things so we can cut it off where it begins. It all starts with one voice, one person being healed at a time. So, with Embracing the Fight, the idea is to start with that one person. So, if you are interested in being a guest on Embracing the Fight, send me an email to operations@diversitydesigned.com. Also, I would love it if you would click subscribe, click like, comment, and share any podcast that you find on Embracing the Fight. I would gratefully appreciate it. And I love the fact that you took the time out of your day to take a moment to watch Embracing the Fight.
People will love you and hate you anyway, so you might as well make yourself happy.
That is so true.
When I was young, they would say you're ugly and
Really?
and also beautiful, and it's just opinions. Like if you have to kind of not care
Right.
to
That's
be in.
exactly right.
I mean, your podcast is so positive, but this episode might get some idiot saying they don't like me. You know what? You're still listening, sir.
Exactly.
In your head.
So you were captivated by it. So all the matters.
I win. So no,
Right.
Jokes aside, yes, you should, because the more representation happens in modeling, and now they even do remote shoots. They'll send you the equipment. Like, you can shoot from anywhere. It's amazing now.
Oh, wow.
Like, you can get shot.
You're going to have me doing some Googling when I get off of here.
We'll talk. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting too that you said you didn't do the runway. You actually did, but you did it different. You ripped the runway, and that you became a pilot, and you're flying, and you're going on a different runway. So
That's sweet. That's very sweet.
So how did you transition, from biotech, from modeling, from sex work, all that to become a pilot?
Well, so that might be in my blood because my grandpa was a pilot. My mom's
Okay.
dad. My dad was a refugee from Europe. My mom's family's been here since the American Revolution. So he married like the most American woman he could find, I guess. And they're 55 years in, totally happy. And actually, my dad modeled in Paris when he was a teenager. So maybe that was also in there somewhere. But my mom's dad was in the Air Force. He was an aviator. And I think the first time I took a Discovery flight, I was just like, oh yeah, this is for me. And not everybody feels that way, and that's great. But for me, okay, it's a few things. It's the beauty of science, right? It's physics, low pressure on top of the wing, high pressure. You're vacuumed up into the sky. We call our planes homesick angels because they just going where they want to go. And I find that science fascinating. Engine combustion, right? And explosion, and that stuff is amazing that people thought of this over 100, and we've only had this for just over 100 years, like 120-ish. And people died to let us have this system, which is really safe. And it's what a time to be alive. If you wanted to go from my house to your house, that was a once in your lifetime journey. Half your family died and you never went back. And now 120 years later, you can be anywhere in the world in a day. It's ludicrous. It's this machine that goes at unimaginable speeds and temperatures, and then inches up to the gate like a swan. And I mean, I even love airports. It's like a portal to the world. I love every gate with people. And you see, next time you're in the arrivals hall of an airport, you look at the love. You see more love in the arrivals hall when people are waiting for somebody than you'll see in anywhere in church, and you see more love when they're saying goodbye before you go through security. I mean, I think the whole thing is one of the most beautiful things humans have ever created. And the bravery, the delusion of the people who went up in hot air balloons, and then the Wright brothers in Ohio, and this, to the test pilots going at Mach 8 right now for the military around the world, secretly, secret test stuff that we don't know about yet, but is coming
Right.
after I'll be dead.
Mhm.
This, I wanted to be part of this. It's also the view. I mean, it's unbelievable up there.
Yeah.
It's sunny every time because we pierce through the clouds. It's always sunny up there.
Yeah.
And I think it is the common thread too of that I've done some things that girls shouldn't do, which flying was one of them.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of a streak. If you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do it,
Right.
which just cost me a lot in life, but also benefited me. Because I'll try anything. And you say that I've been successful at everything. There's many things I failed at. I was a mediocre scientist. I tried to play clarinet when I was young, and I was so bad, my father begged me to stop practicing. So I have failed at lots of things. But
But you failed forward. You kept going. You kept trying. Most people, if they fail at something, they get depressed and they stay there. You
yeah,
kept moving. So that's
I don't
really
really
matters.
do depression.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh
when
no, absolutely not. I can see that, in you that you refuse to run into the wall. It's like, oh, there's a wall there. Hold on, let me get a saw. Let me cut off
yeah,
through here. Or hey, there's a door. Let me open this door. Let me find a key. It's not like I don't see anything in your eyes or in you that says, I can't do this and that's just the end of the world. I don't
I'm at
see.
least gonna try because I think we all should. I'm almost 48. I'm gonna be dead in a few decades. I want to arrive. It's weird to think about. It's not the nicest topic, but
We're
I
the
want
same
to
age
arrive.
almost.
Well, I want to arrive to the end of my life having lived.
Right.
So I don't want to waste it, right?
That's right.
And I do have the beginnings of some genetic heart stuff that
Mhm.
I knew that was coming 5 years ago, and it is getting there. We'll see. But if I can't pass a class 1, then I can't fly for pay anymore. That's
Mhm.
okay. I wasn't getting rich off it. Then I'll just fly for a hobby because the class 2 and 3 don't require an EKG at my age. So we'll see. But if I fail at getting a class 1 and it becomes a hobby again, I'll visit that challenge like I visited every other one.
Mhm.
Because that's probably coming in, I don't know, we'll see.
You
I got,
won't fail. All is well. Because
yeah,
I
well,
know
thank you.
I'm gonna tell you about something after we get off, the call that could potentially help you, with what you're talking about. So you'll be class 1, 2, 3, whatever your heart desires.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I can see that for you. But the whole time you were talking about flying, I always imagined like if I were the pilot. Because okay, so I'll get on a roller coaster because I know it's got rails on it.
Mhm.
And I could be in the very front, but being in the very front, seeing out the glass, taking off, knowing there's no rails, how do you like mentally prepare for that? Like knowing that there is no safety net, underneath you, that's it, it's
Well,
all up to
so
you.
I understand the science because I went to school for it. So
Right,
there is, it's air is not nothing. Air is a fluid.
right. That's
So
correct.
really what you're doing when you're flying is you're swimming in a very thin fluid. So you're not just going to fall out of the sky. It's a fluid. And
Mhm,
with the power of the engines, the lift that's created, even if you lost both engines, you glide for quite a long time.
mhm.
Uh, Not in a helicopter, that's a different story. But in
Yeah.
fixed wing that I fly, airplanes
Mhm,
have a lot of glides. So you're not just gonna drop out of the sky, even if you lost your engines. We practice power off landings all the time to stay current. That's what gliders are. They drag you up in the sky and you land with no power. So yeah, no rail, but you're not up there in nothing. It's a fluid. That's what,
right.
so turbulence is a wave. It's a temperature difference in the air. It's a wave, just
Mhm.
like in the ocean if you were swimming. Um, so, but I am probably not a very fearful person. As I told you about that terrible thing in sex work when I told the pimp to go straight to heck when he wanted to abuse me. I'm often not afraid when I probably should be. So most pilots, you learn as much as you can. We prep a lot. The planes are kind of like a human body. They're pretty redundant. They have
Mhm,
extra systems.
mhm.
And then, you do your job and maybe a little prayer and 99.99% of the time, things are fine. You do a lot of preparation for something that in most flight careers never happens.
Mhm.
I had gear not come down once, but the planes are made to sustain that. It's ugly and damaging, and it turned out it was down. It was just the indicator light that was faulty, so it was down.
Well, that's good.
But you bet when I touched down and wondered if it was down, would it be locked? Would it just buckle up? Would I be on the belly of the plane?
Mhm.
That was my rear end was clenched this tight. 'Cause,
I'm sure.
well, you gotta land. You got no more fuel, right? You go
Right.
around the tower and they look at it with binoculars and they tell you it looks like it's down, but we don't know if it's locked. And then you land and it turned out fine. But
Yeah.
I breathed a lot of relieving sighs. But they were out there with the foam and the ambulances in case it went differently. And
Wow, you looking like, oh, look at all the lights.
just don't tip the wing, right? So you don't end up in a cartwheel.
Oh yeah, that'd be bad. So you
But only for a minute.
yep, just for a little bit.
Oh
But
God.
you conquered the beast of being able to learn how to become a pilot. You became a pilot. You've successfully flown many flights. But what was it like stepping into a male-dominated field?
That part, I think men are scarier than planes. I joke. They're also sometimes wonderful, but yeah, it's so they tend to not think you're as good at it as they are, even though women have a better safety record than men in aviation, but we're only 6%. It's rising.
Mhm.
And same with minorities. It's still unfortunately a white career, but that's changing fast. And but they do still think you're not as good. What did Charlie Kirk say the other day? He didn't want black pilots. And dude, in the FAA, black pilots roasted him off the face of the planet. And it was so great. Because he's wrong. We have a
Yeah.
great safety record. And you don't need to be physically big and strong anymore to fly a plane like in the old B-52s. It's all fly-by-wire and hydraulics now. You don't have to be big anymore. When we fail an engine and I train, you do have to stand on the rudder with a lot of your weight to get the nose straight and touch down. But if
Mhm.
that ever happened in real life, I would have another pilot helping, and I would pretty much have a fair shot of adrenaline. So I can do it. I can do it in our check rides, and I could do it when I have one shot to live. Trust me, I would. So
Right.
yeah, we're fine, women pilots. And as we become, someday it'll be 50-50 and they won't act like this anymore. But right now, oh, and if you're a good female pilot who I've never failed the in-plane part of it, any check ride,
Mhm.
then you get the tokenism thing, like you're the one who's decent at it. And that's kind of annoying because you feel this pressure to represent more than you're responsible for. The token thing, right?
Mhm.
Uh, uh, and then if I had wanted to become a mother, staying home and breastfeeding and all these things, it does negatively affect women's careers because it's not the world of flying and traveling and being gone a lot isn't built well for women. If women had run the world, it would be built differently for us, right?
Right.
But it's not. The biggest insult is men will say things like that we're too emotional to fly, that we can't handle stress, and that's simply not true.
Wow.
We birth babies.
Yes.
Uh, you ever seen a woman execute when her nieces, nephews, or children are threatened? Don't tell me women are emotional. They're cold as ice if they have to be. um,
Absolutely.
they used to say that we weren't ambitious, that we were just getting in it to like meet a husband and then retire. But
Wow.
now if we are ambitious, they attack us like we're some kind of a bitch or a witch. So you sort of can't win. The traits that are ascribed as positive to them, ambition and take chargeness, make them hate us. Uh, but that's changing. It can be isolating. Like dispatch, sometimes if you have a layover, they could save money by putting two male pilots in one hotel room, or
Mhm.
the FBO's sleeping rooms. And if there's a female, they have to spend more because you need separate rooms to be appropriate. So there's sometimes an added cost, kind of like when they talk about building more restrooms and things. But I think we can work. Those are company issues, and we can figure that out as it changes. I have faith that companies will, and as they're hiring more different types of people with different cultural backgrounds and both genders, or trans pilots and they're learning that you get better outcomes when people come at it with a different set of experiences. So it's good for the industry as a whole.
Mhm.
Um, the scrutiny, I've had DPEs, the designated pilot examiners, in my check rides. both be a little too nice to me because I'm a lady pilot, and also be awful to me because I'm a lady pilot. So sometimes the bias in evaluation and performance can be a little weird. That's just because DPs are usually veterans. They're older. They are literally from a time where there weren't a lot of female pilots.
Right.
Uh, they're learning. They're doing the best they can. I don't fault them for it, as long as they don't literally treat me unfairly.
Mm-hmm.
I have to come meet them where they're at, and they them. So yeah, it's the male gaze in modeling or in flying or in sex work. I I chose jobs where I got looked at a lot by men in ways that were both positive and negative.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be exhausting sometimes, right? To play
I
the
can
part
imagine.
for
Mm-hmm.
the powerful, because men still have more power than women. But every year it gets better. When I meet young female pilots, they have it better. So
Mm-hmm.
I have faith that that march will continue.
Okay. So when it comes to a young female pilot, or just say some little girl that's getting on a flight and she gets on and she sees you as a pilot, how would you encourage her, to follow that path if that's something that she's interested in doing in life?
Yeah, I haven't taught any children. You have to be 16 to get your pilot, and
Mhm.
you're private. Sorry, you have to be 16. And I've never flown for the airlines. I've done cargo and charter, so I didn't get
Right.
to see any kids. But when they meet us at like Women in Aviation International or AOPA meetings or anything like some of the meetings that we have when I'm able to attend, I think I love their confidence. They more than us think that they can do anything the boys can do. So
Love it.
I would just tell her to continue not to fear failure, to continue to embrace who you are, to continue to follow her path. The advice I'd give ladies who are sort of closer to starting out, like young adults or mid through their career, I
Mhm.
would tell them, don't be afraid to pivot, because as we've talked about, I've pivoted a zillion times.
Mhm.
It's no big deal. If you take years out of the workforce to be a mom, you can pivot back in.
Oh, yeah.
It might take a little work, but just don't be afraid, because you can always change direction. Um, and then I would also tell women in aviation or modeling or even sex work or anywhere to try to cultivate healthy relationships, because your village will
Mhm.
save you when you need them.
That
So
is so true.
yeah, and that can be online too. Nowadays it can be anywhere you find it.
Mhm.
I think I would maybe tell women to learn to say no,
Mhm.
because some of the mistakes I've made in life were when I didn't.
Mhm.
Um, and then maybe to not rush life like I did. I rushed financial need and life. I raced through school as fast and career as fast.
Mhm.
I might tell women not to give away their time and energy too easily, to protect their mental space more, to not feel such a panic to get so much done the way that I did, maybe.
Well, but I mean, to me, it sounds like you're being really hard on yourself with the things you're saying. Well, maybe you shouldn't have done this and maybe you shouldn't have done that. But all the things that you did made you the amazing person that you are now. And you're still pressing the gas. You're still going forward. You're still positively affecting people's lives. And, we were kind of talking a little bit about you and content creation that, you do that. So can you talk a little bit about that? Because is that the thing that you do now versus being a pilot? Is that going to be what, carries you on? Or is it something else, some other adventure that you're starting after being a pilot, or
So I
what is
still fly.
it?
I'm well, TMI, I'll say it here. I'm adding my rotorcraft rating.
Mhm.
I'm gonna learn to fly helicopters. Started that. It's taken a long time. The in Manhattan, it's like the world's worst place to learn to fly. The only on the ground flight schools are out in Long Island. There's simulator time here that I can use to build time, but I'm gonna add my rotorcraft.
Mhm.
Um, I might add my seaplane too, because there's kind of a lot of that out here, but I haven't actually started that yet. Um, and then yes, content creation. I still get called to represent brands. I get a lot of neck cream ads now at 48.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess they want to see this. Fine, whatever. I don't care if the check clears. Fine. You
I love it.
know what? As long as it's not a harmful product, I'm
Right.
not selling something unethical, and
Mhm.
they pay me. Yes, I am going to continue to do that.
Okay.
Uh, And thank you for saying not to be so hard on yourself. I think I've never had everything all figured out. I still don't. I think some of the most interesting people on earth don't.
Yeah.
Um, and I do try to give others grace and myself too. Some of my laughing at my idiocy is just jokes because I think I'm a solid B minus. I like myself. Uh, and yes, change is part of life's journey. When we started talking before we recorded, you were talking about like you plan and God laughs.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
I think, yeah, with age, I'm loving this age, my late 40s, the sort of don't give a F part of it, because, you know, everyone our age, like they've been through stuff,
Oh
divorces,
yeah. Oh yeah.
bankruptcy, and health problems, and like, and none of that is fun. But the upside is that there's a certain empathy and tolerance that starts happening because
That's right.
no one is perfect, and that's okay. In fact, it's great.
It is. Because you start realizing that everything that you thought was perfect in someone else's life was just a mask. It was just something that they were hiding behind, and no one, really knew what was going on. Because I'm sure, like, people look at my life, they probably look at your life and like, oh, they got it all together, and they have no idea what we had to go through in order to get to where we are now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, it is a mask, and you know, you're very beautiful too. People, what they call it, the halo effect. People ascribe a lot of things to people who look conventionally nice faced. uh, some of this is makeup, folks. I do not look like this first thing in the morning. But yes, people do think you have it all together if you sort of have a nice smile and a nice face, and that is not always true.
Mhm.
They think it's true if you have maybe a little bit of money, but I've learned money comes and goes, man. I weathered a recession where we all went broke and then
Yes.
crawled back up. And so, yeah, I think the journey, we're just trying to smooth it out. We're all here on a journey. I don't know what the next adventure is. I hope it's good after this,
Mhm.
but I just hope the journey's smoother. I would certainly tell the ones coming after me, try to smooth out your journey with self-care, care
Mhm.
for others, try to be kind. Don't do sex work. Or do. If you do, be careful, but also don't do it. Whatever. But definitely, you know, it's a journey. And I think, you know, when you talk to older people at the end of their lives, most of them will tell you that they were okay with their adventures. They were okay with their stumbles. And it's okay that we make them, you know, if you're still on the right side of the dirt, it ain't over.
That's right.
Mm.
All right. Is there any other advice or anything else that you would like to share with the listeners in
Um,
embracing the fight?
yeah, I think in terms of my own mental health struggles and everybody else's, yeah, just try to be kind to each other, like online and offline. You don't know what somebody else is going through, as we just talked about, and you don't know what your kindness could do for somebody else. So if you've made it all the way through my ramblings and you care about anything I could say, I would just tell you, you know, it's always possible to be kind. It doesn't cost you anything.
It's free.
It is, and man, you don't know, it might save somebody.
That's right.
You can be so powerful with kindness. And yeah, it's free. And you hold the key to save somebody from the ledge and from real darkness. People who were kind to me when I had really tough times, they saved my life, like literally. So lead with that. It's easier anyway,
Yeah, it is. It's easy and it's free.
right?
Right. But I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy, busy day to sit with me on Embracing the Fight, and your message. I know it's going to resound with so many people, and it's going to help so many folks, and it's going to help heal so many folks. I look so forward to hearing what people have to say, their comments, their thoughts concerning this episode, because it really touched my heart. It's really making me think about a lot of things in my life, because I always thought, I'm a STEM professional as well. Went to school, physics, electrical engineering, all that. And once I started going into the electrical side, I did the same thing you did. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. I should have, done something else. But I actually did an internship with it. That's what made me realize that's not the way I wanted to go, because the electrical engineers that were working there, anytime there was an outage, they had to be there to read those one line diagrams, whether it was 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whenever. They had to be there with bells on, because think about it, all those different neighborhoods and businesses that were out of power, you had to be the one to come in and figure out what needed to be done to correct it. And you didn't want to send your linemen to the wrong line. They start working on it and someone get killed because you read the diagrams wrong or you did something wrong. I said, oh, no, that's not for me. I was like, I gotta do something different. But I ended up going into, a male dominated field, either way, mining and minerals. And as of late, it's like something is tearing, or tugging, I should say, at my soul, saying, this isn't it. This is not what you were designed for. And the more, I listened to you, it was like, okay, I can keep trying. I can do something different. We're about the same age, and we have seen and experienced some very similar things while working. So it's like, was this God's message just for me to share with everyone else? Whatever it was, I am very appreciative for you coming out here, being so transparent and so open today. So thank you so much, Amy.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's if it's speaking to you in the quiet of your mind, you know what you want. We all do. And you might as well chase it. If you don't like it, you can turn around and do something different, right?
I needed to let me catch it.
Yeah.
Jason, I needed to stop so I can catch it. Like, come here.
You got it. You will.
Okay. All right. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in to this episode 88, Behind the Mask with Amy Taylor. This has been an amazing episode. And as always, thank you for watching, and have an absolutely amazing day.